Hello and welcome to a Pro Detailer podcast. Today we have a special guest, as is our wont. We have Matt from Dynax Detailing.
Hello.
How are you doing, Matt?
Very well, thank you. Very well.
So we are also joined by Ian of Seeley.
Hiya.
Hiya.
Hiya. You know, Wolf.
And we have...
Some brookie.
All right, steady on. All right, I said 3 words, no more. So we are going to be talking about lots of interesting things today, but primarily about starting a valeting detailing business. And Matt is really interesting because you started about 2 and a bit years ago.
I did.
And you are now running an exceptionally cool kind of mobile valeter detailer company.
Well, thank you very much.
And I want to basically take our listeners through your journey for their benefit, and to show, how you did it, the challenges you faced, what happened.
Yeah, well, great. Well, firstly, thank you for having me. It's, as I said to you before, an honour to be selected for this platform. To be quite frank, I don't know if I'm quite to the calibre
That'll soon fade off. Don't worry about that.
Have been up to, but yeah, no, it's an honour. So thank you. But so I mean, I've just ticked over 2 years of trading now. And it was something that, like most people, it was a hobby. I was an enthusiast, weekend warrior, call it what you want. And after leaving the motor trade, decided that I wanted to do something for me, and hopefully something that could be quite rewarding as a job, about a phrase. So, yeah, thought, okay, well, let's roll the dice and see if I can make a go of it.
Well, let's start from the beginning.
Of course.
Before you started touching cars.
Yep.
What did you do at school and college?
School, I never really liked school that much. I was more of a sporty, active person. I like to think I was good at football. Wasn't that good at football, clearly.
I read about these people. Yeah.
yeah. But then I kind of got swayed into more of the performing arts sector, which is kind of a bit of a...
Kind of got swayzed, I guess.
A little bit swayzed, yeah, you could say that.
It's not such a good thing anymore.
So I went down the avenue of actually performing arts and kind of pursuing that and training to become an actor, albeit kind of 6 years down the road, realising that I probably haven't got the patience.
I was going to say, how was McDonald's?
Yeah, I mean, I've got friends that managed to get their breaks and found a bit of stardom off TV. But
so what you're saying is celebs.
I'm not going to name drop, but yeah, I know 1 or 2 people. But yeah, so long and short of it is, it was great. It was a fantastic experience, and it's things which I still use to this very day.
So when you turn up to a Honda and you say, that's a lovely car, that's some serious acting skills.
Exactly that. Yeah. But yeah, realised that actually cars were always in the background for me. Cars were always a massive passion of mine. And as much as I enjoyed acting, messing around, call it what you want. I didn't really have the patience to continue to pursue it and really dedicate your whole life to it.
Yeah.
I've got previous friends and kind of graduates that have gone on to literally, quite frankly, be, hand to mouth living and still chasing that dream, and they will continue to do so. And I tip my hat and absolute credit to them. But for me, I was being pulled in another direction as well, which was the automotive direction.
Yeah. Well, when you said I had previous, I immediately remembered that we haven't actually said that where you're from.
Bristol.
And you're a Bristol boy, born and bred?
Born and bred Bristol.
So, not some flashy part of the country in Bristol.
No, exactly that.
It's very, very real.
Well, that's the point. Sunday the 19th, just so because of when we're filming it, is National Talk Like a Pirate Day.
Yeah.
So it's great in Bristol.
How do you remember that?
I just saw it the other day.
Okay. So are you going to be entering there, Matt?
It's a good possibility.
It's literally
and if I can
that's
talk
just
about
a
Honda
Sunday in
type
Bristol.
R's all the time.
Yeah.
That's good.
You like that?
Yes, as you may have noticed, that Matt is a Honda person, but it's fine with,
Oh, not anymore, technically.
Not anymore, no,
not anymore. So, I mean, a brief snapshot. Yeah, I kind of, once I left the acting world, or the acting training world, so to speak, I moved into tailoring suits for people for a very short period of time with a company which no longer exists called Austin Reed.
I remember them.
Yeah, high street chain, family-run business that ended up selling out. And when I was working in one of their outfits, I realised that it was going downhill quite rapidly. But upon my time there, I actually ended up, I'm not going to say making, because they weren't making, but measuring up the MD for Bristol Honda, a couple of suits.
Oh, was that your into
that
the next
was a
stage?
little bit of my in.
So we said we weren't going to name drop.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. But yeah, so he came in, a couple of suits upon his fitting, asked me if I fancied a change of career. Little did he know, I'd
God,
actually
he just brought that up straight away, or you were at the inside leg point? You're just holding the crown jewels
came
there.
up straight away. What? So yeah, and he very politely asked me if I fancy a change of career. Little did he know at that time I'd already applied for a position within his company, and I had no idea who he was. So kind of all the stars aligned, if you will, and that saw me then move on to my next journey, which was working for the brand that is Honda for about six plus years.
And that was in a sort of retail sales situation?
Retail sales situation, yeah. So I used to be your glorified cheap suit, not quite cheap suit, but
well, Austin Rooty. I imagine you got some good deals at the end.
Suits are plenty, but yeah, suit wearing salesman. But yeah, fantastic experience, and was something which I hold still very in high regard with my time there, because it gave me the opportunity and the platform to be able to move on and ultimately start a business.
Well, I mean, you're a very talented man to be able to sell Hondas. I mean, that's
Honda. I know when. Because obviously the Honda plant over in Swindon's closed down now. They've stopped all manufacturing, but they are quite good with helping people retrain.
Yep.
Did they give you any assistance once you left, or is that a little bit too far? No, it was literally just thanks.
Yeah. Basically, it's a completely different world from those that were obviously in production and assembly at the plant to them being in an actual dealership.
Gotcha.
So I worked in a couple of dealerships in the Bristol area. But yeah, fundamentally, once it was done, it was done. You are disposable, should we say?
Well, I must apologise to our audience there, but we are surrounded by printers at the moment, and as PDM, we have recently bought a new A3 printer that just likes to wake up and make noises randomly, and we've also just bought a Canon A1 printer as well to be able to offer some new and exciting things. So, all right.
Business is good.
Yeah. No, it's still not eating, but we've got a big printer.
So I like beans.
Yeah, they're not beans, but it's fine. You've got quite a couple background, because you look 29, but you are 32 or 34.
Just turned 34, yeah. So I'm no spring chicken anymore.
I keep on turning 34. It's great.
Yeah, I mean, age is just a number, right? But nonetheless,
well, it is. But don't you know? I mean, there's a big difference in terms of like confidence and stuff like that. If you're 21, everything's a bit scarier.
Massively. Oh yeah, totally. I mean, I'm a completely different person I was from the Matt I was 10 years ago. There's no question about that. The one thing I am noticing is how much now, getting a little bit older, the creaks and the aches starting to come in. The back and the knees are starting to not give me problems, but I'm just now being a lot more conscious of looking after one's body.
Well, that's something we will probably talk about a bit later on today, because it's about the kind of the business life cycle, if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
And so, now you're 2 years in. You were drawn into specifically washing as opposed to selling cars because, I mean, was there anything specific about that? Because I mean,
the selling cars rather than the washing cars.
Well, no. When you stopped the selling of the Hondas,
Yes,
you then went into the washing of the cars.
Pardon. Yeah, and that was, again, it was going back to hobby. I kind of had a little bit of time where I could kind of step out of the 9 to 5 rat race, so to speak, and all of a sudden just go, well, let's breathe, let's take stock, and let's think about what's the next move. And as much as I thought I was going to plan myself straight back into the motor trade with maybe a different manufacturer doing the same thing, I went for a couple of interviews.
You go up the ladder, I heard Daewoo were recruiting at the time.
I mean, look, I'm not going to completely disregard that. It was a possibility that I might have stayed within the industry in some way, shape or form, whether that had been in the same role or maybe a little bit of a higher role. But upon a couple of interviews and after reflecting on those, as much as I was there to impress them, you kind of have to be impressed yourself. And there was this whiff of corporate, I won't swear, but nonsense, should we say. And I kind of just reflected heavily on that, thought, I don't want to be doing this anymore. It's not for me. Nonetheless, still a massive petrol head, still love being surrounded by cars day in, day out. So I thought, okay, well, how can I kind of take that and move forward? And then, of course, thought, well, okay, well, absolutely love kind of washing/detailing, spending ridiculous amounts of hours on your own car.
Well, you've got quite a tasty Honda, and I imagine that means that it stays stationary quite a lot of the time.
And to be honest, you actually, all jokes aside, you're not wrong. It did stay stationary. I say did because I've just sold it, but did stay stationary most of the time because it was want for a better phrase, a garage queen. So you just, that Honda amidst my partner's Honda, amidst family members' Hondas. So you can tell I'm a Honda buff.
Is that where you made all the sales then?
It contributed. It certainly helped. It certainly helped. That's
Dad,
for
I
sure.
need to make Target. Come and buy a Civic.
Yeah. But then not only that, from very much from a sales point of view, I could practice what I preached. And generally to this day, I still think the brand's a great brand.
I jest. I do.
Of course. But yeah, so could I then go, okay, right, passion, hobby, can I take that and can I turn that into a business which can earn, which can actually give you a return? Is it viable?
Yeah.
My initial thoughts were maybe there's money in it, but is there enough money in it to then try and quantify enough?
Out of interest, did you have a go-to brand when you were just doing it for yourself?
Did I go to where?
Did you have a go-to brand?
No, I didn't. I was going back like most people. My kind of enthusiasm for maintaining the car and looking after the car came from my dad. So we're talking about the typical stuff you're going to find on the garage shelf of your dad's garage, which is your Autoglym products, your Mur, and so on and so forth.
Chainsaws.
And that. But then his methods, even going back to my very early memories of him maintaining his lovely MG Montego.
Yeah, the lovely one.
It wasn't the lovely one, I can tell you. Yeah, a
Special
lovely
edition.
one, but a very sad end to the story because he sold it to my uncle after about 6-7 years of ownership, and within 2 weeks he wrote it off. And this is a car that was washed regularly, albeit in all the wrong methods.
Yeah.
But he doted on that car as every car he's ever owned. But that's the one from the earliest memory that I can recall that he was always all over.
Did he ever let you touch it?
Say again.
Did he ever let you touch it?
Not at all.
And the Montego?
Is that my comical laugh?
Yeah, no,
Sarcastic laugh.
it's almost convincing. So no, that's cool. So that's what brought you into it. And one thing that anybody who will now, and I suggest everybody does, go and have a look at your Facebook page and your Instagram page and stuff like that, and your website, and you will see
Not the OnlyFans.
Not the OnlyFans. No. That's details underneath. Scroll. What will be overruling kind of profound, should we say, is how professional the brand looks.
Well, I appreciate that.
And it looks, I go on the website and I think there's a long-established company that knows what it's doing, and it is, it looks almost corporate. It's not, but almost, in that how clean it is. And I think if you said to me, if I didn't know who you were, and you said to me, yeah, I've only been in business for 2 and a bit years, and I set up, I'd be like pretty gobsmacked, to be honest. I mean, hell, we had some applications to, the association recently, so I go through and check people out. I mean, ones have been going 5 or 10 years, and it still looks like it's, 1991 on the website, and the loading, nothing is appealing if I put myself in the mindset of a customer or of anyone really.
Yeah.
But whereas your one is a really nice persona, could we call it an online persona? I think we probably could. And all of your images are framed nicely, and it's not watermarked so much as literally framed with a logo at the bottom.
Yeah.
So you've obviously come a long way. What was your kind of process? Did you create, I get the feeling you might well have created a business plan.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Firstly, thanks for your kind words. It's appreciated. It's because a lot of time, a lot of effort has gone into it.
I'll give you my account details later.
But yeah, there was a business plan, and it was something that I sat down with my partner, who very much was a driving force in reassuring me that actually going on this venture and actually starting could work. Having that little bit of reassurance in your corner was invaluable for me at the time. Because you always doubt yourself, constantly doubting yourself, thinking, okay, I could do it, but will I do it? And have you really got that get up and go to roll that proverbial dice and just say, yeah, let's go.
And what's interesting is your other half is a marketing guru. So quite often it's it's like your mum says, oh, you go ahead, it'll be fine. It's like, you know nothing about this. You're just saying go ahead. It's like, oh, enter that marathon. You'll be really good at it. It needs more fat people.
Yeah.
But having a qualified person saying go for it, I bet that is reassuring.
Yeah, absolutely. And she was instrumental in encouraging me to. I'm quite simple to a degree that I like what I see. It's probably really bad grammar. I know what I like when I see it.
Yeah.
So when I think about, okay, when I go and shop online, whether it's detailing products, whether it's clothes, whether it's trainers, anything, the branding has to be strong. If the branding's strong, it's already drawn me in.
Yeah.
And then the body of whatever they're trying to push and sell and so on, that's then obviously when it will get me. But if the brand is not strong to start with, the product could be fantastic, but I probably won't even glance at it or give it a second look because it's just not engaged me straight off the bat. So one thing I kind of knew straight away was, okay, a bit like what you were saying from sitting on the other side of the desk, so to speak, is how can I create something which will get people's attention? And it didn't want to have it OTT, didn't want to have it messy. I wanted something quite simplistic, but seemed to fit.
What I like is that there are some really cool, and I use cool kind of how it's supposed to be meant, brands out there that definitely appeal to me in a youth. When I was out tagging bus shelters and doing whatever the youth is supposed to have done, it's funky. They got kind of, for example, graffiti look in their unit. Yeah. But I'm thinking actually the people with the money, with the nice cars that want you to deal with them, strangely enough, are not petty criminals. They're they're higher up that food chain.
Yeah.
And it was that kind of appealing to the right people, not just cool because you and your mates think it's cool, but cool because your typical, I guess, 30 to 50-year-old professional Bristol-based customer is going to want that look, not something completely wacky.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is, I've been told by many very lovely and loyal clients and new clients that the brand seems premium. Never did I set out for it to, well, actually, I say never set out. I wanted it to have that essence, that feel, but I didn't want people to think it was just kind of high end because, I'm not snobby. It's a case of, we'll go from, your Porsche 911s to Ford Fiestas. It's no issue as long as that everything that we require is available.
But let's face it, the people with the Porsche 911s have perhaps got a little bit more disposable income to spend on making it pretty.
Yeah, there is that fact, and those are quite happy to spend. And not only that, probably are going to be a bit more car proud. So on that basis, are more likely not just going to want to see you, one hit wonder and thanks very much, see you in a year's time or 2 years' time, but regular maintenance and keeping on top of it.
Well, I noticed that on your website, and this is a big thing I've been talking to a lot of members about recently, which is the importance of regular services, because a lot of people think, oh God, it's going to be a pain to set up. Customers don't want to tie themselves into a contract. I'm thinking, flip it on the other side. It means customers just have a simple direct debit. They go through, they know the car's always going to be clean or nearly clean. And for them, you're offering them peace of mind. Yeah. And I think that's a really nice way of doing things. Do you find that's a popular service?
Massively. And to be quite frank, that is what I try and encourage as much as possible with all new clients. You can generally put my teeth in properly, generally get a gauge of...
At some point, that won't be funny when we're that old.
Yeah, I know, I am 34 now. But yeah, you can generally gauge if somebody is looking for a quick spruce up, a mini valet, a valet, just to make it look presentable, and on they go. I mean, we offer things like pre-sale valets, which, it's designed to do what it says, get it ready for somebody to come along and not pick it apart completely. But in terms of actually keeping on top of things from a selfish point of view, actually, just from a business point of view, not a selfish point of view.
You've got consistent income.
Exactly that. It gives you a little bit of reassurance to go, okay, well, I've got these people every month or every 6 weeks. You can almost start to plan ahead and go, well, this is coming in.
And it's more reliable than people who just tend to book you once every 2 or 4 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, look, I initially started like that. It was a case of throw money at the wall in terms of marketing, see what sticks. You've got to test the platforms out and see what works. But actually, when you start to find out what does work, then go, right, now we need to target more specifically people.
Have you noticed one's worked more for you than others?
Yeah, I mean, there's no shying away from the fact that Google Ads is absolutely...
It's Google Ads, is it for you?
Google Ads is for us the biggest form. I mean, Facebook, as much as we've got a Facebook platform, is predominantly Instagram, which is linked.
Because you run your Facebook page as a person profile, don't you?
Yes. Yeah.
So you can add friends, but not like, so to speak.
Yeah. And it's something that you might think it's crazy, but I'm not on Facebook. I never have been on Facebook. I'm quite a private person in that respect. My partner thinks it's absolutely crazy.
But you've got good for your mental health.
Yeah.
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 But Bristol has got fast internet now.
Just about.
Yeah.
Faster than Swindon.
Faster than Honda's.
I'm pumping 300 meg per second. Sometimes.
So I again, even something as simple as Facebook, everybody's got a Facebook. Well, little old me, I never had a Facebook page. So even that platform I wasn't actually comfortable with. I had an Instagram which was primarily just cars, just Hondas.
Sickening.
But going back to your question, Google was without doubt our most popular platform for bringing people in.
Well, you don't have to answer this, don't want, but how much do you think you spend a month, say, on Google adverts? Because this is something that people probably struggle to quantify is the sort of the rate of return. Because how much do you think you spend
on average?
Yeah,
it's not extortionate, between £200 and £300.
Yeah, which nets you
as a return. It could be double or triple that.
Yeah, so it's a worthwhile investment
for those
and that's just to get them through the door in the first place. Because then I'm sure a lot of those have turned into regular customers who you don't need to advertise to anymore.
Absolutely. And I would say probably on average now, the lion's share of our month in, month out customers are what we call care plan customers. People have maintenance plan. We decided to call it a care plan.
Works for the older candidates.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah,
it's the Liverpool pathway plan.
Clue was in the title. If you care, we care.
Clean car, then a Honda, then care home, then death.
You're writing me off too soon. I'm telling you, things to come yet. We get a handful of new customers every month, but primarily it is the care plan customers which we manage to maintain and look after.
So an interesting thing, because you operate mobile.
Yep.
I'm guessing a lot of profitability comes from efficiency of travel more than anything else, because you ain't making money when you're sitting in your van.
Absolutely.
And so the question is, with your regular customers, does that allow you, and particularly as you've kind of got them down to contract, so to speak, allow you to pick and position them in days of the week so that you're in certain parts of Bristol on certain days of the week? Yeah,
absolutely. Planning, I'm huge on planning, even down to the finer things with the van. Making sure everything's prepped. I'll never do anything of a morning that I've got to go to the job. I fill up the water tank. That's all done the night before.
Yep.
Same with laundry, doing your mitts, doing your towels, doing your microfibers.
I mean, filling up the night before is just sensible because it helps with the stance and you don't have to buy coilovers. So I'm trying to get down.
It's not as if they can corner anyway.
I'm trying to get down with the Honda crowd.
This is a caddy anyway. So.
I know it's a caddy.
Bilstein B14s, I'll have you know. Thank you very much.
Are they actual coilovers or are they just normal coil springs with fancy pants dampers?
No comment.
Cut the end off.
I know my Bilstein boy. That's cool. Sorry, I've been now.
Yeah, you were asking, does it help to have people? Geographically have people in the book and you know where you are and helps plan. Yeah, absolutely. Because I've got a couple of clients in Swindon. I
was going to ask, how far do you travel? Swindon's quite a slog from you, isn't it?
Yeah. It comes down to the individual and.
Well, you're the individual in question. That's why
I'm the individual, but the individual client can.
And frankly, if you've got a bit of a Honda
thing
fan base, if you like,
yeah,
Swindon's fairly central for. Well, not so much anymore. There's a lot of second-hand Hondas up for sale in Swindon.
Yeah. I've got no doubt there will be. I can't even say it's Hondas that I cater to in Swindon, but yeah, it comes down to if somebody is quite happy to pay. And they're quite happy for little old me and they trust and rely on me to come and look after that car month in, month out. Yeah, absolutely.
Do you charge a premium for travelling that far, or if they're a regular, you just keep it kind of account for it?
Typically, I always anything over an hour, you need to start looking at expenses. Anything under that.
That comes back to trying to group everything together. So you're trying to go to Swindon once every 2 weeks, which is always a good plan anyway.
Yeah, and it's 45 minutes.
Is it a good plan to go once every 2 weeks?
Or just to restrict it to
restrict it, yeah. So how many times have you been stabbed in Swindon?
How many times have you?
Never, but then I don't stop. I just keep going.
You just walk outside your front door.
Yeah, no, I just go B&Q and drive around the car park until somebody comes out and offers me some 2x4.
Offers you. Hits you with it. They're living the dream.
There are 2 routes you could have gone with that joke, and I'm glad you went with that route.
You fit.
Jesus. Right, well, I've got lots of sensible questions, but we're now at the point where I think it would be a nice little idea to take a little break.
Hey there, just a note for our US listeners out there. Whilst we've always been able to send you over magazines from the UK, we now have a distributor in the United States for you. That's Detail Division. So go and check out their website at detaildivision.com.
you're back with us, and we have got Matt Prowse here of Dynax Detailing. We've got Ian, and we are talking about Matt's business and how he's fairly recently, as in the last 2 years, started it up, but he's taken a very professional approach. And let's just run through. You say you had a business plan, and sorry, I sound like I'm doubting it, but you obviously did have a business plan. You
were organised, you said.
I had my ducks in a row.
The ducks.
And you've written down what you want to do. And what was interesting, so you had a certain amount of budget from you saved up from the previous job.
Yeah. It was my previous line of work, so selling cars, commission-based environment. If you were all right, you could earn some more right money. I wasn't the best, but I wasn't the worst. But on that basis, it allowed me to have a rainy day pot. Yeah, and kind of just put some away. So actually, when I decided to step back and as I said before, kind of take stock and realise what I wanted to do, it just gave me that buffer. I wasn't immediately panicking, thinking, how am I going to pay the bills? How am I going to pay the mortgage and so on? So it just gave me that safety net, if you will.
And did you use that to invest in kit for your business, or did you do a separate loan for that?
No, use that to invest in kit for the business.
So without giving away anything, if somebody came to you and said, look, I'm starting up, I want to do basically what you're doing,
yep.
How much money would you suggest that they have set aside for A, coping with the quiet times until it's earning, and B, getting everything? I mean, I've seen some people sort of with 50 quid in a bucket and sponge is not going to get you there.
Yeah, and that's immediately where, talking about the professional image of the business, that I immediately wanted to set the stall out that this was never going to be that. There are people which quite happily will, have a pressure washer bucket in the back of a van for sponge and just go around. That was never the approach that I wanted to take. It was never going to be something that even had my interest. It was in for a penny, in for a pound.
Yeah. In for an EP3 type.
It's hard to quantify exactly how much an individual should invest to start with, because everybody can be different.
Well, it's not how much one should, but if you're in a position, would you, in terms of suggesting that people have got available, are we talking $1,000, $5,000, $10,000?
Yeah, I mean, I would probably say at minimum, I think you need to be looking, particularly if you don't have transportation, i.e. a van. It doesn't have to be a van, I know that, but if you wanted to go kind of full water tank and everything like that, for me it was obtaining a van. I probably spent too much money on a van. I wanted it to be future-proofed, so I didn't need to be spending out on it immediately when I got it, and I could keep it for 5+ years should I need to. Could you do this on a five to £10,000 initial startup budget? Yes, very comfortably. £5,000 acquiring a van and all the kit you need to get. If you don't have anything at all to start with, it'll eat into all of that.
Yeah,
especially if you want to have yourself afloat to survive the first 6 months or so.
So yeah,
because you don't walk into a business with a full customer list.
No, not at all. And that was the most daunting thing, was even chatting to family members and friends about even potential kind of price points of what you would look to charge for certain services, and they'd be like, really? Like somebody would pay that to effectively wash your car? And it was kind of knowing, well, again, we're not trying to reinvent the wheel here. There are people out here doing this already. So what you've got to do is copy that and do more of what works and less of what doesn't.
And find your niche. And you have got that niche, that high-end mobile service that's not, you're not machine polishing every day of the week. You're not doing, wet sanding and PPF or anything like that. But you've still got the sort of clientele who are, they're spending good money and they've got nice cars. And it's that sort of, what you're offering is a premium service as opposed to necessarily advanced processes, I guess best way of putting it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, don't get me wrong, the processes are down, and that comes from the training. So obviously when starting out, regardless of what you need to invest in terms of equipment, training was fundamentally one of those things which I absolutely needed to have. We all think we're good, but until actually you go and speak to the pros about it.
Well, that's where we first met, because you've done level 1 and level 2 at UKDA.
Correct, yeah. We're with Mr. Ian and Rich as well. So yeah, they are very patient in making sure that I am where I need to be. But even when looking around online to say, right, okay, well, I want to be this professional outfit. I would like to think I can charge X amount. Well, I need to somehow prove that, one, I'm good for it, and two, it can be supported in some way, shape or form. And as much as at the time when I was looking around for kind of qualifications, GMVQ, whatever it might be, there wasn't anything jumping out at all. But however, the boys, Ian and Rich at UKDA, their website and online platform straight away was the most engaging, going back to that initial engagement.
But so you were drawn to things that look pretty, but
Yeah, exactly that. As I stare into his eyes across the table.
Keep your tongue
my
in.
lips. It's a little bit uncomfortable.
So that was a big thing for me, that I wanted to make sure, not only on the basis of it looks even more professional, that you're backed by guys which have done this for years and years, way beyond my years. It's also that if in my hour of need I've got an issue here, I need some help. Car issue, that is.
You can help with other issues, but
Can't help my own issues.
Yeah, part-time Samaritans, I'm led to believe as well. So, but yeah, so they're always there. Got an issue, Ian, Rich, they're very, very good and very prompt in getting back to me on email, just with any niggles or problems. So, yeah, it's that support network as well, which is really valuable.
Cool. Yeah, and I think, again, factoring that into your initial setup costs, and that's what I'm seeing a lot of people now coming into the trade. So people come into the trade from all different angles, but a lot of those who kind of come in almost more pre-planned have got that budget, have got that business plan, but also there are government support packages out there for getting training. If you've been made, for example, these Honda, Honda are being very generous.
£500 a person or something they're given just to help retrain. This is a little golden
goodbye, golden handshake.
Yeah, handshake when they arrive, isn't it?
I think it could be. I think you can get a golden handshake
when you leave, can't you?
Yeah.
It's a golden high five.
Which is good though, right? It doesn't leave that sour taste.
No, absolutely.
It kind of rids of that, and credit to them. I think it's a really nice thing.
Yeah. No, that's cool. And so in terms of your longer-term plan, I'm just going briefly back to your business plan.
Of course.
Did you, when we were discussing earlier, you said how ultimately you want it to be able to support you and potentially a partner as a sort of standalone business, something to build up. Did you at any point during your planning think about an exit plan?
No.
Creating a sellable asset?
No, not at all.
And well, what's interesting about that is you're already saying age 34 but looking 28, that you're already getting a bit creaky and stuff like that.
Yeah.
What, when it comes to 40, when you get to my age, and my mental age, which is sort of 150 or so, just sort of waiting for death, you're not necessarily going to be able to do that. Have you thought ahead about what you're going to do?
Yeah, I mean, as we said off mic before, that I'm now just turned 34. I am conscious of knees and back and supporting, looking after my body.
I'm just chuffed I'm conscious.
34 unconscious.
Yeah, that's a start.
So, yeah, I've not got one in place. I don't have one in place at all. I'll continue going until I can keep going, but obviously I know I can't do this forever in a day. So there possibly will need to be something else that comes into play. Can I grow it to the point of where I can take more of a back seat and bring other people on board to carry out the work, which I can maybe through gritted teeth get through?
Would you consider going into products or diversifying out?
I had a lot of people ask, and I guess this comes from the branding. We do merchandise, we do products. My fear is with products is that it's so fierce.
Saturated.
And I don't have any knowledge of even where to go. I don't know chemists. I don't know who I would immediately go and approach or tap up.
Does anybody when they start?
I'm sure. I don't get me wrong. Goes back to that.
And you say it's saturated, but at the end of the day, there are 64 million people in the UK, I believe, most of which have cars, some of which clean them. You break it down more and more, and you'll eventually be able to find 1,000 people to buy your products.
Yep. So on that basis, I will be doing a product range.
because you started with such strong branding, and when you were coming up with your, I know we've covered branding a little bit, but when you were coming up with how many versions did you go through before you arrived at where you are? Was it a long process?
Not a massive deal.
I tend to find that a lot of the brands that kind of just know their image straight off are often a lot more successful when it comes to diversifying out, because it's more an overall vision than just I just need something to make people come to my business to watch the cars.
Yeah, I would probably say we only went through maybe 5 or 6 different variations of the logo, the brand, if you will. It was. I did a lot of homework research online of other brands, like I said, in all different sectors that I thought looked cool,
like Dynarod.
Not those. Funnily enough, not those. But yeah, so a lot of other brands which are cool. I did study theirs. You tried not to copy anybody's, but you tried to take elements of other
Who was sort of a big influence on it?
I mean, I'm not a motorcycle person, but I do love Dynax Machina. Their branding's superb.
I'm going to plead ignorance here. Who are they?
They're a motorcycle brand clothing company. But yeah, I think very cool brand. When I think of obviously the sector, Auto Finesse, they're the marketing giants in our game. So yeah, definitely had a look at them and tried to again draw elements of inspiration from that. I think other guys that do it really well, the likes of Carbon Collective. Just tried to take snippets from other companies without trying to copy anything and put my spin
inspired by.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah.
And the name Dynax, where did that come from?
That was going back to my Honda roots. There was a chap on a Honda forum. How far we're going back on forums.
Well, let's face it, they're mostly chaps on Honda forums.
And his what do we call it? Handle, was that the right thing?
Handle, yeah, because I said avatar earlier, but that's more of a picture thing.
Picture, isn't it?
Yeah.
Avatar, but yeah, his handle was Dynax, and I loved his car at the time. I always remember reading a lot of posts about this chap and this, that, and the other. And when I was trying to think for a name for the business, that kind of popped into my head. I want something that would roll off the tongue, quite easy to remember, quite short. And you think of like Topaz, something like that. Then when I started to look into it a little bit more, I even looked at what the name Dynax meant. So if you're going to call your child Dynax or something, I don't know anybody called Dynax, but looked into each individual letter, and each individual letter summarised me quite well. And again, I won't bore you with all of that, but yeah, it just seemed like it was going to be the right fit. And
you had that, had that feeling to it.
Yeah, exactly that. And the reason I wanted to go down something that sounded, I think you said earlier, not quite corporate, but maybe more professional. Matt's car cleaning, or my initials MP. Or
a diverse name like that allows you to do whatever you want with the business.
Yeah, so I guess there possibly might have been an element in the back of my mind thinking that actually maybe we could branch out at some point, but that I think probably was grounded very quickly by not trying to run before I could walk. But yeah, maybe there's scope in the future. We'll see.
So in terms of the whole setup, because we're going to hit our sort of 20 questions fairly soon. In terms of the whole kind of reason how you've succeeded, appears to me at least to be proper planning, proper budgeting, getting your training in, getting the equipment right. And again, you've got, for example, a lovely gazebo, all branded up. Quite an expensive thing, a decent gazebo, which I can't remember which one you've got. Whether are you a Rock Awnings or you're a Rock Awnings, and getting all that done properly. As you say, you hit the ground with the right impression immediately, whereas a lot of people, through no fault of their own necessarily, because they can't necessarily just click their fingers and have some dollar, kind of start and build gradually. But from the very off, you've been kind of right on point. And that's, I think, helped the acceleration of your growth and development to where you are now. I was just intrigued, given you've only been going 2 and a bit years, well, it feels like we've had 2 and a bit years of COVID. So
I was going to say, in your October 2019 business plan, what was your global pandemic SWOT analysis like?
Well, I predicted it all along, didn't I? So I had
it's the Mayans. The Mayans knew what was happening.
I thought it was 5G.
I mean, it's look, we had to just roll with the punches, so to speak, didn't we? It was something that I say we on the basis of my partner obviously assisting me behind the scenes with marketing and what have you, but had to keep going. The government left me with 80% of zero. So with that in mind, it was you've got these inquiries coming through. What are you going to do with them? You're going to sit back and just let them, bypass you, or you're going to say, right, okay, well,
slowly descend into poverty and end up with a Honda Jazz.
Exactly that. Great car, I'll have takes me back to my company car days.
Probably was car of the year at one point, the Jazz.
What, in Saga magazine? Yeah.
It's a TARDIS for a small little car. What a lovely amount of space.
That's what you can say about it.
He's still in salesman mode. He's actually stealth marketing here for Honda, guerrilla marketing stuff.
Tomorrow I wake up and I put my teeth in and I sit there going, Doris, I think we need a Jazz. But I don't know what I was doing this. Anyway.
That's where your hand puppet normally is.
For my conversation. He's my best friend. So you're in a situation because you haven't been trading for more than 12 months. You haven't basically submitted a return for the business.
That's right, yeah.
You got zero support at that point. Because you're not unit based, you got zero support from that point of view. So you were up the Swanee without a ding dong.
Absolutely that, yeah. And it kind of it wasn't really a hard decision to make, because as long as you're doing the right things, and let's go back to what I was doing. I'm not in a unit. I've not got an employee with me. I'm one man in a van on his own, working outside.
Exactly.
Minimal contact with customer as well. Can reduce that almost down to almost nothing if you plan it quite carefully, with keys being dropped and so on and so forth.
Yeah, and just shout at them from a distance like Alan Partridge. Ahoy there!
Exactly that. Not taking on the lovely cups of coffee and that they want to always ask you for.
Hey, boiling water sterilise.
So look, I mean, gloves, have always been part and parcel of everyday life for.
Well, even in the acting days,
Well, you spend most of your working day with your hands submerged in soapy water, so you can't really get much cleaner than that, can you?
Absolutely. Just making sure that you're all over on top of the sanitising.
Yeah, just keep customer hugging to a minimum.
Exactly.
No tongues.
Absolutely.
You've gone red.
I have a little bit, yeah.
No more licking.
Look, it was challenging to start with, because of course it was just acting with more caution than you would normally take, but nonetheless.
There was less traffic as well, so
Which is irritating, because if they could trust people to do that in the first place, they probably wouldn't have needed to lock down.
Yeah, and even now, if more people just continue to do the right things, we will get out of this sticky situation much, much quicker. It's those that are...
You don't have to wear a mask everywhere, but would it hurt?
Exactly.
A little bit.
I mean, I'm very much on the... And I'll probably be hated for this or patted on the back, but if you want to go in a supermarket, it's a crowded area typically. Just put a mask on.
Yeah.
Well, if you see the people that are normally in a supermarket, I think I'd probably wear a mask regardless of the pandemic.
Yeah.
Breathe that in.
Well, I grew a beard specifically for navigating supermarkets, because I just wander around in a slightly fat jacket, sort of like chatting to myself, and they get out of your way. I do social distancing in a range, they keep a good 4-5 meters.
You're picking out the occasional corn flake.
Yes, I go through my reserves in supermarkets. It's the stress. But no, I agree with you. I mean, everybody has to go out, apparently clubbing and all the rest of it. Why don't you just stay at home and play Tiddlywinks with yourself?
Exactly, Tiddlywinks, great game.
Exactly.
Fantastic game.
Indeed.
But yeah, so I mean, just kind of finishing off on your COVID question. Yeah, I mean, it once we took a stance that, so I keep saying we, apologies, it is me, as I said, with my partner's help, but we decided that trading was going to continue. Sent a mailer out to our existing customers. That all of a sudden they were like, "Oh wow, okay, you are still trading, fantastic. We'll get booked in then." That was one thing, and then I think after a couple of weeks of being in lockdown, people started to get a bit more comfortable, rather than the panic of uncertainty, what's going on. This is what was coming to an end, blah blah blah. Was okay. Well, we're going to be at home for the foreseeable. Let's get things done. So the gardens were being done, the interior decor was being done. And
did you have any advice from trading standards down at Bristol?
No.
The
best advice I had actually was from Bert coming through on
that's something you don't hear very often.
Well, yeah, I mean, as members, we certainly from a PVD point of view, we spent quite a long time saying, look, it's your choice.
Yeah.
If you're getting support and sufficient support to live on, don't take the piss and keep working sort of thing necessarily. But if you are screwed, I can't blame you in it for a second if you keep going and you're in that situation. And also you are low risk anyway because you're mobile.
Well, that's it. And to be quite frank, even if you just tried to risk assess, like I said, one man in a van outside on his own, all the necessary...
That's what the crime report says, yeah. So working through COVID, but doing so intelligently makes sense. Now, we have recently started this trend of doing quickfire questions, which usually it's my fault that they're not particularly quickfire, but we're going to be fairly disciplined. I will self-flagellate if I carry on too long.
Later, though.
Okay. I suppose we are on camera. What's your current car?
VW Caddy.
Did you used to have a Honda that?
Yeah, I did. That was sold and driven away last Sunday.
On the back of a van. Second, what is the first car you professionally sort of touched?
The first car professionally?
As a valeter detailer, not as a hooker.
It was valeting, it wasn't detailing. But it was a Porsche 911 Carrera GTS.
Oh,
2015 year model. So quite fancy. As a
Whereabouts in Bristol are you? Because I used to live in St Paul's, and there was the only ones there are the ones that have been nicked.
St Paul's?
Yeah, 2 streets over.
Bloody hell.
Yeah, it was fine. I quite liked it. I felt at home there. Everybody else looked equally feral as I did, and we didn't stab each other.
Shuffling around in the dressing gown every morning.
My 306 did have the door ripped off
Oh,
it
yeah,
at one
the
point.
306. Okay, that's fair enough.
Yeah, 306 fitted in. I went back there actually.
Quick fire questions.
My bad. Sorry, I was going to involve a Fox and a Mazda 3 in blood. Never mind. So whereabouts? Sorry, my point is, where in Bristol are you? East, west, north, south? South. Oh, that's so near the airport.
Not quite as far as that, but yeah.
Gotcha.
So if anything, it's probably kind of south, north, kind of in betweeny.
Kind of south,
middle
north.
there.
Kind of in the middle.
Bristol. What's your dream car?
Porsche 964.
So not a Honda.
It's not a Honda.
Interesting.
My taste has acquired over the years.
DA or rotary?
DA.
Nice. How many buckets do you do it with?
3.
Okay. And when you're washing a car?
When do I? So
How many buckets when you're washing a car? Sorry, I was trying to be funny and you really screwed that up.
I think you screwed that up. That's all on you.
Ceramic or wax?
wax.
Gotcha. Can I make... No, I won't
Do you
even
need
try.
me to go into that a little bit more? I mean, there's
Well, yeah, why not? Why not? Explain why you prefer wax to ceramicing.
Well, I mean...
And then on a car.
This answer could change as and when,
Depending on the person.
yeah.
But you have a unit and you're suddenly offering ceramic coatings.
yeah. I mean, these ceramics outside, it can be done, providing clients have garages where they can be safely put overnight, etc., etc. But by and large, I do wax more so than ceramics. There is a more enjoyable process of waxing than ceramic, and I kind of touched on a little bit earlier on, but if the client then has a bit of a whoopsie with the car at any point, then having to then paint correct, it's not as tasking to be working with a wax layer.
When you say whoopsie in a car, I'm just thinking an old lady wetting herself in 100 jazz. But never mind.
So both have certainly got their place in the market. There are very much ceramics available on the market, which also can cure very, very quickly and so on and so forth. But
favourite wax then? Sorry, adding a kind of question 3B.
Favourite wax currently? Angel Wax Enigma.
Nice.
That's probably my go-to one that I like to offer.
Okay, so now we've got some simple right or wrong questions. Ferrari or Porsche?
Porsche.
Subaru or Mitsubishi?
Mitsubishi.
Well,
So 2 right.
And, thank you for having me on.
one step up from Honda, I guess. Flex or repairs?
Flex.
What would be your dream car to detail?
A 964.
So you just want to touch a 964?
I do like 964s. Yeah, I've just when I was a kid, my dad always used to say to me, "You've got a phrase," and my phrase was, "What a baby black Porsche." That was my phrase as a child.
How old were you?
I have no idea, but that was my phrase. I think at some point Porsche ownership will have to happen. If it could be a 964, if I came into...
Well, how much are 964s nowadays?
Shoot,
Enough.
6 figures. And
Holy hell,
Yeah,
really?
I nearly
unless you
sold
want a
one
big resto project.
for a client who kept out in Spain at one point, and that was. It was going to go for quite serious money. That was in 2014. So
Okay.
yeah.
So big dreams.
Oh,
Yeah, big dreams. I mean, a more probably realistic dream would, because I am a JDM fanboy, would be a Nissan 32 GTR.
Yes.
Which is obtainable now.
Are they really though? I mean, I saw one at $7,000 about 3 years ago. I was offered it for $7,000 in the proper gunmetal grey.
Yeah,
Nice recent import.
KH2, lovely paint code. Yeah.
Yeah. And I said no. And now a nice R32 GTR is what?
35-ish. And on the hike, it's probably not going to be as extreme as the iconic 34, but it's going to certainly jump up. I think the next 5 years.
I prefer the 32 to 34 anyway.
Yeah. It's that would be a dream as well. Possibly a bit more obtainable than a 964.
Yeah, right. And ever closer to a Subaru Legacy 2.2 Dual X. Okay, so final question: Sunday drive or Sunday detail?
I would say Sunday drive.
Mm-hmm. And what car would you do?
Because
because the Honda isn't there anymore.
Well, as far as the business goes, the business is closed on a Sunday, so I like to down tools on a Sunday.
Yeah, quite right.
Detailing Monday to Saturday. It's nice. Drive.
Nice, nice. Well, all that leaves me to do is thank you very much for venturing up here.
You're very welcome.
And taking the gamble, getting so close to Swindon, which incidentally we're still 10 miles away, so it's reasonably safe. And we wish you all the best of luck, and I'm sure we'll get you on again in the future at some point. And to all our watchers and listeners, both of you, thank you very much for listening, and we will be back fairly soon. Hello everybody, I just wanted to remind you that we have updated the Pro Detailer Mega Pack. It now includes issues 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 and 13, along with the Wax Talk Show guides back from 2018 and 2019, bit of memorabilia, and you also get a couple of air fresheners. It's $44.99 including UK postage, and we can also ship it abroad. Grab it now for the full back catalogue. And